It's round 15, so we're going to look at some great number 15s and also fantastic round 15 moments. And the greatest of all is Malcolm Blight. I know some might have bigger records, but in terms of premierships and flags and Norm Smith, but Malcolm Blight, Damo, what a superstar he was for North.
He just was, Llordo. I mean, he just lit up Arden Street. He lit up every ground he played on and did it as a ruck rover in a couple of premierships. And then in his last year at North Melbourne in '82, managed to effectively play as a full forward and win a Coleman to Frank what he'd already done as a Brownlow medalist in 1978 and won a Magarey as well. It's just an incredible CV and someone who could do it with either feet, Llordo, and then was a successful coach, as we'll touch on, and was the second last playing coach as well as everything else he did.
So only 178 games with North, but he kicked 444 goals and after kicking 100, he went back to the SANFL. Do you know why he did that?
Yeah, he wanted to take Woodville through to the finals, and they got back into the finals, and he just kicked a lazy 100 that year back in the Sandford when he returned.
And just for everyone playing at home, he said the second last playing coach.
Yeah, he was among the few, and Alex Jezelenko in '81 at St Kilda, I think, officially has that title. There were a few in 1980 who did it. Jezza had previously done it at Carlton, obviously, as well.
But and Tuddy did it before that at Essendon, of course, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And he's a legend coach at the Adelaide Crows, taking them to back-to-back premierships, but he also delivered one of the great sprays you'll ever see to a player.
To start like that means you won't win, particularly with a pathetic effort from Pittman in ruck. I mean, it was the most disgraceful display I've ever seen from a big fella. And that's pretty hard on an individual, but he's going to have to live with that because we got carried away as a team.
So Pittman wore 15 as to why I would get
and then he won 2 premierships as a Crow under Blight.
Jeez. Hey, I remember when he was appointed coach of St Kilda, it was like really exciting times. There was going to be this new era at Moorabbin, still in search of a premiership to go with their one and only one in '66, and Malcolm Blight was the man. But unfortunately, after a 97-point flogging at the hands of Adelaide, there was no alternative for the board to do what the board did best back then, and that was to give him the raspberry and sauce. So 3 wins and 15 losses was the result, and there he is leaving in the most unflattering of tops.
Well, when you say no alternative, I think Malcolm does have a different view on that. He's not too happy with the people who made the decisions, inclusive of Grant Thomas.
Yes, I thought you were getting to that.
Yes.
But the interesting thing about that I remember is that it was one of the few times that we didn't actually have a media conference. I mean, it was probably the last of the sackings where a media conference didn't follow. It did a little later there. But he holed himself up at home for about a week, and everyone was camped outside. I think Patsy, his wife, did a run to the supermarket to get supplies, but outside of that, didn't see him.
Luke Hodge, one of the great number 15s, 4-time premiership player was Luke Hodge, but more importantly, in those premierships, 2 Norm Smith medals to go with it, 3-time All-Australian, and he was just strong, wasn't he? You think of Hawthorn back in those days, you think of Luke Hodge to straighten him up, whether he was playing half-back, centre-half-back, or when he went into the midfield, and he's just a strong leader, a strong person, and 3 All-Australians and 2 Norm Smith
and this
medals.
goal in the grand final of 15.
Just a super player. Super player. And a great kick of the football too on his left. And even though he was a great left footer, I thought when he went onto his right foot, he was just as good too. He was a left footer that can kick on his right.
I'll never forget turning on the radio round 15, 2015, and hearing that Phil Walsh had passed in the unbelievable circumstance, devastating circumstance. And this was round 15. They played the West Coast Eagles, and look at the emotional scenes, Kane, that the players had. Players in tears. How they got out there and played was phenomenal, and it was just the AFL do things really well, but this one still pulls at the heartstrings now that we've lost a great man in Phil Walsh, and what a tribute it was to them at the end of that game.
Yeah, it was. Another incident in round 15, Llordo, back in 2002. Nathan Buckley, who actually won that year's Norm Smith medal in a losing game, in a losing team, had the blood smear incident with Cameron Ling, which was a massive story at the time, and it was very much out of character, and it was clearly just something in the spur of the moment, but something that the Bucks did in this particular round back then.
Look at some of the great 15 goals. Daniel Wells' Jackie Chan's kick, which we've spoken about. Goal of the year, I think it was, back in the day. Look at that, unbelievable in 04. So just a human highlight reel at his best. Damo, as you would know, just unstoppable Daniel Wells for the athleticism, the ball use, the speed that he played with. To be able to do that and think through that was incredible. Stevie J, our man, who maybe, or has been on the Sunday Footy Show and maybe back. That was in a loss against the Bombers, but the left foot there, just speaking of freaks, what a freak he was. And then there was another cat as well in Peter Riccardi, turning back the clock in 2002. Of course, he wore the number 15. So look at this goal, look at the time on the clock, look at the distance that he has to kick this from.
And they think it was touched too, okay?
Against the Blues. That's gone 52 metres. Wasn't his best strike of the football, but got there. And then there's the celebration. So a couple of ripping goals there.
That's all, TJ.
Fantastic stuff, Llordo. Number 16 next week, and there's been some great number 16s, that's for sure. All right, we're going to take a break on the Sunday Footy Show. Still to come, an inserter alert from Kane. I'll tell you what, it's a brave move.
I'm not doing it.
Oh, you're not doing it?
No, I've got enough.
Who is it?
Got enough enemies. Brownie showed the chart of all the feuds I'm in it this year. I don't need another feud.
Oh, if you're not going to do it, who was it?
I thought Damo was doing it.
I don't even know what we're talking about. And I actually don't. I'm not even saying that. I don't know who we're talking
Anyway,
about.
look, the bottom line is, Andy Marr, you can rest easy, right? All right.